From the Battle-Born Broadcast Center, it's Cofield and Company.
All right, here we go. 570-9000 is the number at Battle-Born Injury Lawyers. We're in their broadcast center. Big Five is on the way. Tonight, we got the Lakers and the Warriors play-in extravaganza. Last night was kind of a dud. Celtics were threatened for a little bit, but they got the job done. But this is a chance to freaking stop messing around, get the 7th seed, get in the playoffs, or it could be a trip for the Lakers to another game that they have to win, or they don't make it with all these high expectations. So the gang is back together. They better get the job done. And, of course, Dr. Dre is on the other side to lead Draymond Green, to lead the Warriors.
Battle-Born Injury Lawyers presents the Big Five at 5. Number 5.
Good, you can answer.
I mean, he's a leader. I know you don't love him, but he is a leader. He's got experience. He knows what he's doing.
Number 5, let's get to it. Baseball. I like good social media from teams. Did you see the Red Sox trying to shoot their shot for J-Lo?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, this one's, I don't know. It's creative. So the Red Sox shoot their shot with Jennifer Lopez. If Affleck can get her back to Fenway, because they did attend a game years ago at Fenway. Actually, they weren't together. She took in a game in 2019. So now the logic is she hates the Mets. You know, she's in New York, Jenny from the Bronx. She hates the Mets because they rejected her offer. And A-Rod, former Yankee, so she's out on the Yankees, so they may be able to steal this free agent, although technically I guess she's not a free agent, as I do the air quotes. Can we talk about the most distressing story in weeks that we never hit on? What is Affleck doing? Why is this happening again?
Well, I think when you reach a certain age, as you know, Steve, as an old man, you start thinking about your past and like the good times that you've had, and you've really missed out. And I think he's just trying to revisit how he felt when he was younger, not necessarily who he was with when he was younger. So he's chasing the glory days.
Nightmare.
Number 4.
Red Sox. Nothing worse in baseball right now than Bobby Manfred.
I was trying to think. Well, Tony
La
Russa.
We're going to get to La Russa. But Manfred, his grubby little, I don't know if he has little hands. His fingerprints are all over baseball right now, and it's a mess. We should be coming in going, yay, Detroit Tigers, no hitter, Spencer Turnbull, what a story, 3-17 2 years ago. Throws a gem, but the problem is it's part of now 5 no hitters before June. The record for a season is 7. That was accomplished in 90, 91, and 2012. What are we going to have this year? 15? And how many other guys who have ERAs north of 5, and Turnbull's actually having a pretty good year, are going to throw no hitter? This is, like you said, as a kind of a Tigers fan, you're like, I mean, no hitters, 1 hitters, 2 hitters, 3 hitters are like commonplace now because no one can hit because they've made the freaking ball into like a baby baseball. Remember those giant bats? You have you give a toddler and he's like, here's a soft baseball. That's not that bad, but the exit velocity is harder than ever. Nothing's happening to the ball. It's not going anywhere.
So should we use those big fat red bats?
I don't know.
Is that those? Because those will hit no matter what ball you're using.
Something.
Those things crush.
There's no offense anymore. Stinks.
I mean,
May 19th, a team is hitting 199. The Mariners are hitting 199.
That is hilarious, by the way.
Yes.
It's funny that a team is hitting below 200 as a team and that they just got no hit to fall below 200 as a team. I bet under 6.5 no hitters for the year? There's one more and that's it.
I'm like setting the number that'd be an insane number.
What would you put? 9?
Yeah, I'll go 9.5. I think it'll double from here.
I'll bet the under.
What do you think? The hot weather, everything changes, or does Manfred actually call up whoever's making the baseballs and like, okay, make them the old way because this sucks. The fans hate it.
Well, I think it's also a little bit of a fluke. I mean, I think definitely
been a while now.
Offensive numbers are down for sure. Pitchers are as good as they've ever been.
Adam, it was 2 years ago that the homers were at a crazy rate. And then they've been depressed over the last 2 years. So people were hitting a couple of years ago. We're talking about There's fewer overall hits per game. This is all off the top of my head. Fewer overall hits per game since 1908. I mean, this is historic stuff. What are you doing, Manfred?
Maybe Manfred was watching games from back then on like ESPN Classic.
Fewer doubles per game. The most recent low was 1989. Balls put in, what is it? Batting average of balls put in play.
BABIP?
Yes, BABIP. It's the lowest it's been in 29 years. I mean, clearly, they overdid it with the baseball. It's not a fluke. It's not a trend. It's not the weather. It's not early season jitters. There's one main theme here.
I'd like to think that it's just a resurgence of pitchers.
Well,
I like to think the pitchers are great.
well, they're actually, I forgot what I was reading the piece. Someone over at Fangraphs was talking about fastballs, like how pitchers are now pounding fastballs more and more and more. Why? Because they're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
So now people throw more fastballs. They throw harder than ever. You see so many converted starters then gain like 3 miles an hour in the bullpen, throwing one inning at a time. And now they're like, yeah, I'm going to throw it around the plate. I don't have to be all pinpoint. This isn't freaking home run era. Rob Manfred wants to put out the mushy ball. So yeah, fastball, bang, 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 just all fastballs. It's not going to go anywhere.
Well, I think there's a combination of that. There's a lot of things that there's a combination. The guys are swinging for home runs a lot more. And it's the hit or miss. I think also you've got umpires expanding zones a little bit because of the graphic now that's up on the screen, and I think that they're worried about like looking silly if they call a pitch or ball that's in there. And it's only making them worse because now they're expanding the strike zone outside and they're off the plate a little bit more instead of just north and south, which is where they really had to adjust the strike zone. I think there's a lot of things that are working in pitcher's advantage, which is completely opposite from every other league that's always looking to increase offense. Crazy that in baseball, which does need to embrace a younger demographic, they've kind of gone in the other direction. Like, let's see what we can do to stop offenses from happening. They'll adjust back, though. I do think the ball is a big one, and I'm sure that they will fix a little bit of what they did with the ball. But there's other things at play here for sure, and I think baseball will try to figure out a way to go in the other direction because offenses are what sells. I think offenses is what is going to get you more tied with the younger folks and stop with the nonsense too of all the silly rules that people don't know about or care about that aren't even real rules. All that stuff has to come into play, but I do think they'll figure out a way to adjust back to offense.
Number 3.
Yeah, that was a terrible lead into Manfred and the anger around Manfred. Is there anyone more disliked in baseball? Bigger dork in baseball? Bigger problem in baseball than Rob Manfred? The last couple of days, it's the old school guys like Tony La Russa. By the way, I kept referencing earlier, it's not old doesn't mean that you're, by your age, right? By the number. La Russa's 76. The other guy in this mix who's, trying to be tough guy about the rules, the unwritten rules, is 39-year-old Rocco Baldelli.
Which is insane.
Right? And I keep mentioning Chris Woodward. He was the guy in Texas last year who flipped out and then got Jace Tingler to flip out on Fernando Tatis for simply having fun, right? Tingler, I'm sure, got a talking to from the organization, like, don't do that ever again.
Jace Tingler's like 25.
That's our guy. But Chris Woodward, I just saw a note. Chris Woodward's like, I've kind of changed my mind on the unwritten rules. You know how minds change? Well, first of all, you have to be malleable and flexible, right?
Being shamed.
But also being destroyed by everyone.
Yes.
But it's not even that. It's just listening to the average baseball fan. Media people are like, what are you guys talking about? We don't care. Stop worrying about stuff like this. So, yeah, Chris Woodward, who's 44, is like, okay, maybe I was wrong on this. Let's lighten up a little bit. Tony La Russa? Oh, he's digging in. He just said yesterday, again, this all goes back to Yermin Mercedes. One of their big power hitters is up at the end of the game. It's a blowout, whatever it was, 15-4. Astudillo's throwing just nothing for the Twins. He lobs in a 3-0 pitch, and the guy blasted out of the park. And then you can see the Twins dugouts getting all pissed. And then La Russa comes out afterwards, says his player's clueless. He ignored the sign. That's not going to happen again. I'll have a talk with him. Twins come out the next day. They still throw at him. Like, none of that did anything to quell their immaturity and anger and stupidity over these unwritten rules of baseball. So then La Russa comes out and goes, I'd be willing to bet there isn't anybody in my clubhouse that's upset that I mentioned that's not the way we compete. I walked around the clubhouse last night and nobody was giving me the Heisman. well, I don't know how we would judge this, but you're going to lose that bet.
First of all,
There are people in your clubhouse who are like, this is nonsense. You don't have our back.
and there's some real subtle tweets that I don't really understand that are going on right now that I think maybe are applied to that, and that players are not happy with La Russa. First of all, is give me the Heisman? Is that a new reference or an old reference?
Pretty old.
I mean, I feel like it's an old one. Like, I've heard people use it that are younger, but I think that's an old man reference, with, giving the old stiff arm and keeping you away from them. But also,
It's pretty hip for him, actually.
you also are their boss.
Yeah.
Like, you get to decide if they play or not. Like, they don't really have that much freedom to just go after you.
Have at it. Yeah, he and Lance Lynn were kind of going at it indirectly, and I assume they've talked face to face. I'd love to see that talk face to face, because if you ever seen Lance Lynn, he's about 6'5", 270. So good old Tone trying to go nose to nose with Lance Lynn, who's 40 years younger. But yeah, Lance Lynn came out and was like, said there are no rules. When a position player is pitching, he said, the more I play this game, the more those unwritten rules have gone away. La Russa responded by saying, Lance has a locker, I have an office. I don't agree. All right, brother.
Yeah, he's more important. He has a locker. He's more important. You are not. Players are important. You aren't. And you're an old man who shouldn't even be in this job.
Yeah.
You're not
I
qualified.
don't want to keep calling old man. It's an old attitude, and he's an egomaniac. And for him, sometimes it's about the players, but a lot of times it's for him. There are times when bosses just have to step in and go, you know what? We tried. We tried with the opposition, or we tried with this person who was complaining to us, right? So the Twins are complaining. Okay, sorry. And at some point you're like, all right, enough. Now it's getting insulting. And I'll tell you, we had a great story around the building. One of our FM DJs got in a little hot water because he lost his cool at a local restaurant, right? So the bosses at Lotus, like they tried to make good on it, like, you got to apologize. Then they had a meeting down there, and then it got to a point where they were like, yeah, we don't like his social media. Like, it was unrelated stuff to their restaurant. Yeah, he needs to kind of scrub that, clean that up. Doesn't really look like he's sorry. He's not really changing his ways. They had a follow-up meeting, and it got so ridiculous that finally our big boss was like, that's enough. That's enough, okay? He said he's sorry. He did something wrong. We've tried. We're done. And they both left.
Right.
And that's what you do if you back your people. You don't just keep going on and on and on and calling your employee clueless and then actually putting him in harm's way. You almost gave the Twins permission. You know what? Just go throw at him, because I got your back.
And then
Thanks, boss.
And they did throw at him, and he's like, yeah, I don't blame him. That's probably the right move. Like, it's insane. But to your point, like, I did see some of the pushback of, hey, the problem isn't that he swung, or they swung it against a position player, or that it was a blowout. The problem is he was given a take sign and he ignored it. He chose not to follow the coach's instruction. Okay, fine. You want to make that argument? That is fine. And I would completely accept Tony La Russa going to him in the locker room and saying, hey, nice swing. Don't ever ignore a take sign again. And then going out to the press conference and saying, hey, that's my guy. It took him 10 years to get to the major leagues. He's gonna take advantage of every single opportunity he has. He's gonna go hard every single at bat. And if you don't like it, then come to me and talk to me about it, because like, I'm gonna defend him to the end, because this is a guy who worked his butt off to get to this level. And even if you're mad about it, you tell him you're mad about it. You explain why you're mad about it, and you teach him, and then go publicly defend him. That is your job as a boss. That's what you're supposed to do. If you have a problem with somebody, you tell them, and publicly you support them.
Number 2.
Oh, boy. Think the NHL is happy to get away from NBC. Is NBC a dying medium? The ratings are in for the regular season, lowest in 10 years, or lowest in the entirety of the 10-year deal. What the hell's going on?
Well,
did their switch to Peacock hurt things?
It could have. I think also maybe the lack of fans in the NHL really does kind of change the viewing experience a little bit. It doesn't look as good without full houses. Kind of,
I hadn't thought of it. I thought you and I both agreed. Like, do you care?
Most sports, no, but I think hockey is a little bit different.
God, I love that. I thought the hockey playoffs last year were really cool.
I liked them too.
They had all the tarps and everything, and they had lots of colors and stuff. Because I'm shallow that way. So I was like, yeah, that's cool.
When did they?
Sounds loud.
When did they run these numbers? So I would like to know what the last 3 days of the regular season did
Okay.
in terms of ratings. Like, some of these regular season games after the season was over, among non-playoff games.
You and the Canadian team still playing regular season games up until the afternoon.
I am obsessed with it.
Yeah.
I will never drop this. But I feel like if they would have had a lot more regular season games after the playoffs started, it would have worked out well for them.
Number 1.
Marc-Andre Fleury last night was very good. Very good. I know you got on him a little bit somehow after losing 1-0. Because I think you were getting annoyed because people were like, you can't play better than Fleury did in game 1. You're like, Talbot did.
Right. That was the issue.
You annoyed.
It wasn't. Yeah. Marc-Andre Fleury played unbelievable in the first game.
I like that you get all mad. You understand what's happening. We are over the top in love with Marc-Andre Fleury. So
and that's fine.
And want to defend him. That's the way a lot of Vegas Golden Knights fans are. I'm a Fleury guy. Whatever. What he did last night was amazing, especially in the first period, because he was not getting a lot of help, and the high danger chances early. It was ridiculous. It was a freaking onslaught.
It was crazy, but he was tremendous yesterday. He's been great all season. It's been an inexplicably good season, probably his best season yet,
which is incredible,
insane.
And maybe a lot of it's because of this setup.
Yeah,
maybe the fire was lit underneath him. Like, hey, there was talk of getting rid of you. The owner stepped in and said, "Don't get rid of him." And you got max motivation. You got max motivation. We saw in football. Was there anyone more pissed off and driven than Aaron Rodgers? Hey, your replacement's here. No, he's not. Oh, you think so, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and I think you also have to take into consideration that while Leonard was hurt for a long time and Fleury had to play a lot of games, the second half of the season when the last couple of years Fleury has worn down and been tired, he was able to get into a rotation and play only half the games. And I think that very much helped him stay fresh and also stay at a very, very high level and not go through some of those lulls that he's gone through in the past. So I think Leonard's presence not only inspired him to play better,